I'm very pleased to welcome to the show, we're very honoured, one of our greatest actresses, Dame Maureen Lipman. Good afternoon, Dame Maureen.
Hello, Sir Kevin.
Well, I'm just using your title, you know. I don't have one as yet, but it won't be only a matter of time. Now, you're going to star in a one-woman play called Rose at the Ambassadors Theatre. Starts on Tuesday, the 23rd of May, runs until Sunday, the 18th of June. Quite a task for you, but tell us about the play and what attracted it to you.
Well, I've done it before, and by gum, I'm going to do it again. It's a one-person show, which was actually written. Martin Sherman, the author, says it was written for me, but I was only 45 at the time, and I was kind of reeling from those those wonderful BT commercials. And Olympia Dukakis played it and very successfully. But it's suddenly become incredibly relevant, Kevin. I mean, it's about immigrants, it's about the Ukraine, it's about someone having the experience of being in the Warsaw Ghetto, of being on the Exodus, the ship that the British broke onto and behaved so badly, clubbing the refugees and shooting people, and it's also ends in Israel with all that entails. And it's really about love, passionate love, and where that is placed in a long life. She's 80, she's sitting on a bench mourning a child. You don't know who the child is, but she says, "I'm 80 years old. I find that unforgivable." And I know that feeling. I know that feeling, yeah. Where the hell did it go? I don't know.
And yeah. Rose's story tells the story of the 20th century, essentially, doesn't it?
It does, but, you know, you can't play the 20th century. She's a woman, and she speaks and feels and thinks and is dry and funny and impossible and wonderful to play. But I have been, I've had the works thrown at me at Coronation Street recently because I'm going to be out for 5 weeks. So they've just sort of made me into the workhouse donkey, and I've been learning 6-7 scenes a day.
Oh my God.
And I had my last one last night. I actually just lay on the floor for quite a long time in my dressing room.
Let's go back to Corrie in just a second. A little bit more about this play. How long does the actual play run for? And what's it like to just be on a stage on your own?
It runs for 2 hours with an interval, and I've done stand-up, and I've done one-woman show. I've done Rejoice, which is about the late great comedian Joyce Grenfell. So I don't ever feel alone. You know, if you put me in front of 3 people and a dog, I'll do exactly the same thing in front of 1,000 people, only louder. As long as the writing is inspirational, and as long as somebody comes, and as long as they laugh, then it doesn't feel. The only thing I'm scared of is myself, because if I get too close to the material, if I get too involved, then I'm not going to do me or you any favours, because I'm going to get really upset. And you can't be upset 7 times a week.
Now, no, I guess not. Now, proving your vast range as an actress, and by the way, you like to be called an actress, don't you, as opposed to an actor. I've never understood why the guys at The Guardian led the charge to say, let's call female actors, or females actors, as if to call someone an actress is an immediate indicator of inferiority to actor. Why? That's stupid, isn't it?
Well, we're talking about labelling, and we've all gone into little tribes, smaller and smaller tribes, Kevin, haven't we? I mean, I can't make a joke. I can make a Jewish joke, but I can't make a joke about the Irish. The Irish can't make a joke about me. We're hypersensitive. Yeah. And it's ridiculous, you know, that our hearts are so on our sleeves that our arms are heavy, and yet at the same time we're acting like victims. I don't care whether you call me an actress or an actor or you can call me what you like, but as long as you come and see me. I mean, these labels are pointless.
Yeah, I just never understood why suddenly actress was no longer de rigueur and we have to call them actors, as if the female version of an actor is automatically inferior to the male version. Absolutely mad. Tell us about Coronation Street, though. Evelyn Plummer, sometimes likeable, but mostly dislikable. A hell of a character.
She is. She's a great character. And the writers write very well for her. And she is, I don't have to strain for Evelyn, frankly. You know, she's everyone I grew up with. She's the raised eyebrow and the I'll get to you first before you get to me, mate. Don't come it. And that's great. I like being in a company. I like having, if I'm not on my own, I like having a gang around me, you know, it's just nice. And also if you're from the north, I watched a bit of film of me, somebody sent me from the BFI in 1968. And honestly, I'd come out of drama school and I'm literally saying, I think it's so nice that I can use my North Country accent, because a lot of people try to, it's unreal, it's so pretentious. But when you go up north, you realise that you have spent a lot of your time avoiding saying, I read this very good book.
Yeah. Okay, listen, I'm hearing that you are going to sign up for another year on the cobblestones, so let's just leave that in the air. I've got to, before you go, I've got to ask you about the recent row at The Guardian. What did you think?
Oh, The Guardian.
What did you think of that cartoon?
Just... remind me what the cartoon was again.
Well, it was a depiction of Richard Sharp, the exiting chairman of the BBC, who I didn't know but happens to be Jewish. But of course,
I didn't know that.
But it looks as if at The Guardian, the first thing they try to find out about you before they make a judgment is whether or not you're Jewish. So they depicted him in the classic tropey way, you know, the big features, holding a sack of gold, all of that. They very speedily said that this cartoon was wrong. They shouldn't have published it. They took it down, but it was flat out anti-Semitic.
Yeah, well, you know, The Guardian on Israel is about as bad as it gets. I don't know where, I don't read it, so I don't know. I do know they gave me a good review for Rose, so I'm being careful here. I'm being careful. They were literally the only broadsheet that came, because the others didn't. So when it comes to Diane Abbott, when it comes to Corbyn, when it comes to The Guardian and the murals and everything else, all I can say is I'm not giving them any airtime, Kevin. There are 100 resolutions at the UN against Israel, and there are more than Syria, China, Burma, Myanmar. It's more than all the rest put together. There's a reason for that. We all know what it is. Let's talk about what matters. If they come for me, I'll fight, but I'm not going to spend my life fighting about 3 journalists who were Marxists when they were at university and called themselves by the pronoun "the." I couldn't give a toss.
Why is it that people like Diane Abbott think that racism against Jewish people, anti-Semitism, is not as bad as racism against black people, which is exactly what she wrote to The Observer? What kind of a mindset brings you to that conclusion? I don't want to waste any time on her, because she is rather silly and has been for years. Very, very silly. How does she get to a state where she sends a first draft? How does she write the first draft? Let's not just spend any moments on her, because the Jewish people have given the world a lot. We have excellent, great, fine Jewish people. We have some who occasionally fall off the side of the ship. You know, we're just a race. And if the Marxists, if the Corbynistas cannot see that, then they can be anti-Semitic, but claim they can't be because we're not a race, so therefore we can't be racist. You know, that's their argument. Well, as an Irishman, I always felt very, very angry on your behalf and all of your fellow Jews. I think it was outrageous. Dame Maureen, what a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you so much and good luck with the play.